It is 6:30 p.m. I call the meeting of the Old Saybrook Police Commission to order. Please join me in standing and pledging allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Although the agenda says we're going to adjourn to the annual meeting, what we're actually going to do is recess to the annual meeting. So I am now calling a recess, and we will reconvene following the business portion of the town meeting. Seeing none, we will go on to item 4. And I noticed that both of our departed police commissioners, Carol Manning and Joe Maselli, were in the education business. And they did their best to keep us unruly adolescents on the straight and narrow. And I especially would like to thank Joe Maselli for his work in connection with the bylaw that we're going to be voting on later tonight. And Carol, of course, is ineffable in her way. If anyone else would like to say any words about either Mr. Maselli or Ms. Manning, please.
Well, I would like to just say something about Joe Maselli. Over the last 2 years, I learned a great deal from him serving on this commission. I appreciated all of his efforts, his work on collaborating with us, and especially on his work on that bylaw. He is a really valuable member of this commission, and he always had the ability to try and find a solution to any of the problems that we were facing to help us move forward. So I just wanted to thank him for his service.
Anyone else?
I thought it was a pleasure working with both commissioners. You mind?
Sir.
Yeah, I just want to obviously thank Commissioner Manning for her service. We had worked extensively when she was on the Board of Selectmen. We had a much better relationship when she was a member of the Board of Selectmen, but we certainly value her time and dedication to the town of Old Saybrook. Not enough is said sometimes about you folks who give up your valuable time. We just saw the town report be dedicated to Mr. Freeman, who was one of my lead parent volunteers when I ran the Far Side Youth Center here. So it's nice that people give back to our community. Joe Maselli is leaving after 2 separate stints on the police commission. He was one of the original SRO dads. So over a decade ago, there was a threat to cut the SRO program out of the budget and take the police officers out of the schools. And there was a huge upheaval in town about that, as you can imagine. And Joe and some other dads are really part of this group that got nicknamed the SRO dads and really led the charge with the public to make sure that the cops stayed in our schools. So I think that will be a legacy that he can always tip his hat to. So thank you to both for their service from the department.
And item 5, we welcome Jackie Prest and Mark Ciliano. I think each of them has something in common too that they may not be aware of, but Mark, of course, has been a union organizer and Jackie is a union member, I am sure, as a teacher. And so there is going to be a very welcome perspective that they will be bringing. Any other comments for our new commissioners?
Well, just welcome. Do they have anything they'd like to share?
Yeah, Mark?
I'm just really looking forward to working with everybody, and this is great that we can do this for our town. That's the way I look at it, and that's why I ran.
Jackie?
I think it's just nice that we could all come together and work collaboratively and share the same message across the board and keep our targets aside.
Well said.
And so I'll be looking forward to reaching out to the 2 of you before we get into the full budget season. Hope to sit down with you and do a little bit of operational orientation so you get to know a little bit about the department more. And I'll take you through the budget format, so that when you get it officially, it's not the first time you're seeing the budget format, and you'll be able to jump in with both feet. We did that in past, last 2 years with some newer commissioners, and I know that you folks found that valuable, so we'll be doing that again. So I'll reach out in the next couple of weeks, and we'll find a time to get together, give you a tour of the department, things like that.
That would be nice.
Thank you. Next, discussion and possible action on the meeting minutes for the regular meeting, September 18.
Election of officers.
Election of officers, forgot that. Next, election of officers. Is there a nomination for chair?
I will nominate.
Oh, okay, I will nominate Chuck for chair.
Is there a second?
I will second it.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? All in favor signify by saying aye. Do we have a nominee for vice chair? I would like to nominate Renee Shibby. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any other nomination? Is there any other nomination? All in favor, say aye. And for secretary, is there a nomination for the position of secretary?
I nominate Jill.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any other nomination? Is there any other nomination? All in favor signify by saying aye. Congratulations.
So we don't have to change the name tags. That's important. Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, just 1 second. Not sure if your names have appeared on the police commission website yet. We are working with Larry, who is joining us virtually. He is actually on vacation, so we appreciate him doing his work tonight. He is very, very, very dedicated town employee, and we appreciate him very much. But when he returns, we thought we could just simply take one name out and put one name in, and that is not the case. So when Larry returns, we'll make sure that your names are updated on the police commission website. And Jen has for you, did you hand them out already?
No, not yet.
So we have new police commissioner information sheets. And then once we have the email that you want things forwarded to, Larry Hayden will set you up with a town email address, and then we'll add that into the group email address, so that when someone emails the police commission, you folks are obviously included on that group email.
They are up there.
Oh, he did it. Look at that. Thank you, Larry.
Stationary too.
Stationery was updated right inside the office of the chief of police.
All right,
I didn't even know this.
now we'll move to the meeting minutes for our regular meeting of September 18. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I did have a correction to make. Under item F on page 2, paragraph 1. Instead of saying expected competition, I think it should be expected completion.
Which one again? I'm sorry.
Page under F1.
Oh, one, yep. Oh, expected competition, yep, completion.
And on page 3, up at the top, item 10. I thought that this was something that was a work in progress. The relationship with the commission, that's an ongoing effort.
Well, I think that I would call it accomplished based on what we've done over the past now 11 months. I think the bylaw that you're voting on tonight speaks to that. But a lot of these things are always an ongoing.
Right,
Yeah.
that's,
Yes, but even at that meeting, you defined it as having been completed.
Mhm.
So
okay, well, then no correction necessary.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. Let's turn to the meeting minutes for the special meeting of October 18, excuse me. October 30, the agenda says October 18, but the minutes say October 30.
there are, there was the 18th also. There were actually 3 meeting minutes that should have been approved under this agenda. It should have been the 18th of September, the 18th of October. and the 3rd
Of October.
The 18th is just a hiring, right?
right.
Did we have like October?
It's, the minutes are online.
They're not part of the package, but
So you can make a motion to add them to the agenda.
Sure. I'm gonna say so moved then, that we add that to the agenda. Second.
I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Now, I don't have the October 18 minutes. So,
Well, I can tell you, I can,
Page and a half, yeah.
it's very simple, it's just,
There's the hiring, correct?
yes.
okay, when we went in and came out,
Yes. The times, all the times for it,
okay.
so it was just a very simple minutes.
All right. Any further discussion? Was there a motion?
I think I.
I'm forgetting if I asked for a motion.
No, we didn't.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. Oh,
I'm
that's-
abstaining because I wasn't here. So
okay. I move that we amend the agenda to include approval of the special meeting minutes for October 30, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
I,
Okay. I welcome a motion to approve the special meeting minutes of October 30.
so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I will abstain because I wasn't here. But I have read them and I have.
Okay, let's turn to the next item, discussion and possible action on the regular meeting schedule for 2024.
Like, any comment on that?
Well, we need a motion, right?
I seem to have misplaced my copy of that.
It's further down in the packet.
Okay.
I'll share.
Thank you. Chief, I assume that these January dates are budget dates? The first, the 8th, 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Yes, so the 8th will be the joint meeting again between the police commission, the board of finance and the board of selectmen. Like we did last year, and that was at the request of the first selectman and the finance director that we do that once again, so thank you for allowing that. Then we gave the traditional one-day pause for you to digest everything that happens in that meeting. And then schedule the 2 meetings, the Wednesday and Thursday, and then the Friday meeting if the commission needs to meet once again that
Right. Although in the past, we've succeeded in wrapping these up without that 4th meeting.
Correct.
And by the way, these are not regular meetings, these are special meetings.
Well, if you approve them with this list, they will be regular meetings.
Okay.
So if they're voted on with this motion, regular meetings, if you don't include them in the motion,
Then there's.
we'll still have them, they'll be special meetings. I would say that the 8th should definitely be a special meeting, because it will be a special joint meeting of the 3 boards and commissions. So, you know, I would leave them out and just make them special budget meetings, vote on your regular meetings.
That would be my preference.
Yeah.
But just as a explanation, the May 20 meeting is not on the 4th Monday, and that's because it conflicts with the 4th Monday would be Memorial Day. This year, we don't have a conflict with Rosh Hashanah. We are perilously close to Thanksgiving, but so be it. And December 16th is in advance of our regular meeting because of obviously the Christmas holiday. I think the schedule as proposed makes a lot of sense, and I invite a motion, or let's have a motion and then any discussion.
Someone.
Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, you want to include the time for that meeting as well?
6:30. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For the clarification.
November 25th,
It's gonna run into the same.
that's what, yeah, it might just be on the annual town meeting, so
I'm sorry,
The annual town meeting might be on November 25th,
It will be.
so we could move it to November 18th instead. If you'd like, or that's just one option. I think.
I was originally thinking that, moving it ahead, but if we're gonna continue to do that in the future, we won't have people seated at that Monday, so it'd have to be, think about Tuesday.
is the annual town meeting
Fourth
fixed
Monday,
in
every
the
third,
charter?
thanks.
So that's immovable, I think, yeah.
Correct, yeah. But Renee has a point. If you move it up, you'll be seating the old commission technically at that time, after the election, and you won't be able to conduct any business.
So it'd have to be on like the 19th, or it has to be Tuesday.
There's not gonna be new commissioners next year.
Right, but if you set the precedent, then the following year, we're gonna have an election.
Right. And if someone leaves mid-year.
Oh,
yeah.
because I was thinking, I get it, but I think Tuesday the 19th might work better.
Well,
And remember, it's also subject to room availability.
Right.
So we have the fourth Monday of the month. Whenever we go change that, we have to search for a room.
we go begging.
So what would the harm be in just keeping it as the 25th? And
Doing what we did tonight.
exactly.
Yeah, I don't think there's any harm in that at all.
Work, so.
I mean, we're all here.
Yeah.
Happen.
Okay,
Yeah. So, okay.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
You wanna just read the dates into the record?
Yes, the regular meeting dates would be January 22, February 26, March 25th, April 22, May 20th, June 24, July 22, August 26, September 23, October 28, November 25, and December 16. Each at 6:30 p.m.
There's better be cake on the December 16th, that's my birthday.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Unanimous.
Great, so Mr. Chairman, we'll submit a letter to the town clerk, a memo to the town clerk, indicating that the commission has unanimously voted in these as their regular meeting dates, and that the meetings will start at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you.
So just one more comment. The May 20th date and the December 16th date, which are off, they're the third. Can we look for the rooms now?
Yes, yep, so what happens
Instead
is.
of waiting?
Yes, what happens is after this goes to the town clerk, we'll give it to Georgia Neary, who assigns all the commissions their rooms. And if that's not somebody's regular meeting date, we'll ask for this room. If it is, we'll try to schedule upstairs or wherever we can go.
We were even able to operate out of the basement.
We did work well in the basement that time. Yes, it's not the most comfortable thing, but
It was there.
Are we having a meeting in December?
We had none scheduled, so it was, awaiting developments. If we need one, we will have a special meeting.
So then tonight we have to decide on the budget dates then.
Yeah, we voted on that.
well, so the budget dates are kind of set in stone. With all due respect, because we have to have it to the first selectman by January 15th. January 8th is definitely the three commission or board meeting, the joint meeting. And so to me, it just makes sense that you're discussing the budget after the presentation. I mean, you can do what you want with that, but the 8th is kind of set in stone.
Can we find a bigger room for that?
Like a bigger room.
Auditorium.
I mean, I don't mind playing a larger venue, but I mean, that might be too big. Maybe the Acton Public Library.
Something, just we were on top of each other in here.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Renee, I could.
No, we were just on top of each other in here, and then we leave and find out somebody had COVID, and that wasn't fun.
Yeah, we can certainly look for a different venue. Let's see what we can come up with.
Okay.
Hey, obviously, we want Larry to be able to videotape there and stuff like that, but we have time to work on that. Good. What about, I think we'll be on top of each other. It's better too.
Yeah, it was pretty packed in Port Egger the last time we joined meeting there.
Yeah. All right, we'll look around.
All right, item 9, executive reports. Chief?
Thank you. So we're just doing noteworthy operational reports tonight because you folks have a long evening and I appreciate that. So I'm just gonna run down a list of things that I do want the commission to be briefed on. SRO Gavinelli, Patrolman Gavinelli has given her 2 weeks notice. She has taken a job with a financial institution doing some corporate security. She was our, I think, almost the longest serving school resource officer we've ever had. For a tenured police officer who comes to us retired, that's a high demand, high burnout type of job. And she's been there for 7 years. She is not leaving our employ. So she's gonna stay on as a per diem patrolman to help us out with parades and things to that effect. And just in case the new job doesn't pan out to what she's hoping it will be, we'll certainly welcome her back with open arms. In the meantime, Patrolman Tanner, who used to be the school resource officer on a full-time basis, and she went down to per diem work, is able to help us out 2 or 3 days a week. So that'll be a great assistance to the operation while she does that, and then patrol will obviously cover the remaining of the open shift. So parents in our community should know there'll be no difference. The high school will certainly be staffed with a police officer during the academic day. We'll always hold our promise to that, even if I have to move my office to a school temporarily. We'll never leave the school without a police officer during the day. Patrolman Cruz has left the department. He is an example of regrettable turnover. Patrolman Cruz, great guy. He left us for Middletown. 5 years left, family medical upon retirement, as opposed to zero family medical or zero medical upon retirement from the town of Old Saybrook. There's a COLA in their pension. There's none here. There's department overtime included. That's not here. So real regrettable turnover. He was an outstanding police officer and a true asset. He is still contemplating whether or not he wants to fill out an exit interview. My guess is all the negative notoriety around exit interviews, people maybe just don't want to participate, but hopefully he does, and if he does, we'll certainly get that to you. I've found in my time that once you leave, if you don't have a grudge, you don't necessarily want to continue to comment on a place that you don't work for anymore. You move on, you start your new job, and you enjoy your new life. It's those that have grudges that are more than willing to comment years and years after they've left. I've decided that starting after our budget meeting, I'm going to start rotating all of our sergeants to sit in the second chair next to me at police commission meetings. So we talked about that a little bit last time. I just want to formalize it with the commission. With the retirement of Captain DePerry, which I'll talk about in a second. I think it's important to give all of our sergeants the exposure to sitting at a police commission meeting. I'll have them report on something each meeting, so everybody has that opportunity to interact with the police commission. I told you in the past that I think we kind of need a 6-month pause to take a look at all of our sergeants before we decide who might be interested in ascending to the second in command position. But I think by getting the experience and being with the commission, I think that'll be a very good professional development experience. Captain DePerry. So Captain DePerry formally retired on October 30th, but I have not terminated his employment. So I would like to keep Captain DePerry on in a per diem basis, right? Only when we need it. There are things that he has done for the agency that I cannot replace yet. So his job being a firearms instructor or a use and force instructor, it would make no sense for me to find someone who doesn't know our department and pay them as an outside consultant to come in and do some teaching, when I can call on someone who's done it year after year after year and just pay them their going rates. And of course, there might be an opportunity, maybe there's something that I need his help with of the executive nature, something that he used to do for me, that he can spend a couple hours of supporting me. That also puts him in a position, God forbid, something were ever to happen to me. I would imagine your first phone call would be to Heather to say, I'm sorry. Your second phone call would be to the retired captain to say, can you help us out? So I think it's important to kind of keep him on in that capacity. There's no cost to the town. We don't even pay for his training anymore. The town of Essex does that. So I've spoken with him and he's good with that arrangement, but I just want to brief the commission. I think that's just smart for us.
There is his hourly compensation.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's covered by our current budget.
Correct. Again, per diem capacity. So he's only paid when we need him. So he does not earn his weekly salary. Or, Karen Gavin Ellie staying on part-time, the per diem. It's the same type of thing. A couple of months ago, when I was going through my executive goals, we talked about how we achieved Tier 1 accreditation. And would you pull the back side? Yeah, Appreciate that. Sure we got enough over there. And I am pleased to report that on November 9th, the department was awarded its Tier 2 accreditation.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And so, for the new commissioners, very quickly, the Police Accountability Act required that all law enforcement agencies in the state of Connecticut become accredited. And there are, let's see here, there's 100, I think, and 57. So there's 157 agencies in the state of Connecticut that have to become accredited. The first round of the legislation mandated that all of the municipalities, 157 municipal police departments, had to become CALEA accredited, National Organization for Profit. And it would have cost the town of Old Saybrook a lot of money. We're talking between $50,000 and $75,000 to get accredited. Old Saybrook, like many other communities, said, wow, that's a lot of money. What about our own state accreditation system? And so the Police Officer Standards and Training Council was tasked by the state legislature to come up with a very robust accreditation program. The standards in the accreditation program pretty much mirror the same standards that that national organization has, with one caveat: it's free. Our tax dollars pay for this independent evaluation of our agency. And so the law breaks it down like this. Tier 1 has to be achieved by December 2023. That was one of my executive goals this year. We achieved it a month and a half ahead of schedule. We were very, very, very proud of that. Tier 2, which we've been awarded on November 9th, 2023, has to be accomplished by December 30th, 2025. So we are 2 years ahead of the state's accreditation schedule. Tier 3, the final tier, has to be completed by December 30th, 2026. You'll see in my budget presentation that one of my executive goals for next year, 2024, is to achieve Tier 3 state accreditation. This is a true independent analysis of the department's rules, regulations, policies, and procedures. Pretty much how we do our job. And so the letter that I have passed out in front of you is from the Post Council. And so for the two new commissioners, we'll go over how the Police Officer Standards and Training Council is tasked by law to create policies and procedures and mandate how agencies in the state of Connecticut, law enforcement agencies, do their operation. But here's some interesting statistics that I think that you would appreciate. So as of November 9th, there were only six Connecticut law enforcement agencies that have attained the Tier 2 accreditation status. There are 26 agencies that have that national accreditation through CALEA. So if you add the 6 to the 26, that leaves 125 law enforcement agencies that have not achieved what we have achieved already in Old Saybrook. And we're very, very proud of that, because anytime someone comes in and does an independent, really deep dive on how you're doing things, and it's proven that you're doing things correctly, we're proud of that. So I want to publicly thank Patrolman Millardo and Dispatcher Gosselin for their assistance in achieving this very, very significant milestone, which is Tier 2 accreditation.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. And you'll notice in the letter, it says, those who sought a transparent and independent review of police operations, including compliance with accreditation standards, both in policy and practice. And so that is something that I hope you leave this room tonight very proud of, and that you share with your constituents that you're sitting on a board of a Tier 2 accredited law enforcement agency.
Thanks.
Yes, this is really fantastic news. Thank you for that.
You're very, very
It's
welcome.
like happy holidays.
Yes, that is
Really
very,
great.
very, very happy about that. We talked about the budget dates. So I am putting together my executive goals for next year. I have committed to having not as many goals, and that was at the urging of many of you on the Police Commission. So thank you very much for that. But if any of you have any thoughts or ideas with respects to my executive goals, give me a call, send me an email. Certainly would love to talk to you about those before I finalize them and present them to you at that joint meeting on the 8th. Our FOI hearing with the New Haven Register regarding the Tyler Schultz internal affairs investigation. So the New Haven Register wanted a full copy of Tyler Schultz's internal affairs investigation. When Tyler Schultz left our employ, part of his separation agreement was that we would not hand out that investigation unless a regulatory agency ordered us to do so. Our concern is that inside that internal affairs report, there are names of individuals that fall into specific categories where their names and addresses should not be disclosed to the public. And so through the hearing on the case, it was determined that the internal affairs report needed to be handed over to the New Haven Register, needed to be disclosed as a public document, with the caveat that specific names and segments of the report were redacted. So we have done that. We've submitted that to the New Haven Register. I'm assuming it's going to be an article sometime soon. They asked if I wanted to comment, and I said, it is old news for the town of Old Saybrook. It was a black eye. We dealt with it properly, and we have moved on. It's just old news. It's reporting on the late news. But obviously that they have to do that, so we'll let them do that. But I am not commenting. I would encourage the commissioners not to comment. That is just something that has now moved past us. I wanted to very
Thank
quickly.
you for the heads up on
Yes, you're very welcome. I want to very quickly thank Mrs. Healy and the room A3 preschoolers of the Goodwin Elementary School. They had a lesson where they created a mini police department in their kindergarten room. And when our new SRO, Heather Clark, told me that that was going on, we took to Amazon Prime and we got the kids everything they could possibly ever want that would make their classroom look like a real live police station. And so they had a great lesson. I'll be stopping there in the next couple of weeks. But they included a little picture of everyone dressed up in their mini little police uniforms. So I figured the commission might appreciate seeing that, so we can pass that along. Oh, and the other thing, I just want to thank the commission publicly for adjourning to the town meeting tonight. Number one, I think that the annual town meeting should supersede any other board and commission meeting in town. But more importantly, on the agenda tonight is two very important items for our volunteer fire department. So on behalf of Chief Johnson, I want to thank everyone for going and participating in that, because communication is paramount in the fire ground. And I'm really, really happy that they're going to be able to receive the radios that they need. Other than that, Mr. Chairman, I think that's the abbreviated version of the executive report.
it. Thank you very much for that.
You're very welcome.
Okay. Before we move on, I wanted to ask if anybody had any questions concerning the off budget or budget reports or the activity report.
I was just wondering, I know we have a lot of work in front of our last meeting. When does that drop off of those?
It is gone. It's a zero balance.
Remember, we were reporting for like 2 years and then just the 6 months, and so you'll keep seeing it.
Okay,
Unless you guys say you don't need to see it anymore, it won't appear.
but it's not gonna be.
No, in fact, another check came in for it, and because we had closed it, it went in. It should show that it's in your off budget account that you folks have.
I didn't see any change in that account.
We didn't get the thing from town hall yet.
That didn't go in yet.
Yeah, not the receipt yet, but
So
yes.
that will go.
Yeah.
So you have a deposit waiting for you. What was that, a couple $1,000?
Great.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
you'll be seeing money in
Yeah.
that.
I did have one question I wanted to pose, Chief. Sure. In the activity report, I appreciate that November is, this is reporting on 21 days out of 30, so I went through the numbers, bearing that in mind. But I was concerned that proactive activity might be slipping, and I wondered if that is the case and is it attributable to our staffing situation, and is there anything that we can do about that on an immediate basis?
Yeah, it's slipping because of our calls for service. So not necessarily increase in calls for service, but how comprehensive the calls for service have become. So fraud investigations, burglaries, larcenies, those are just taking us more time to do. So in that analysis tool that I use, I can see that we're spending more time investigating. And anytime that you're spending more time investigating, you're spending less time doing proactive activity. Correct. And there'll always be the balance. There'll be more proactive activity on the midnight shift than there is on the day and evening shift. Also keep in mind, if you want to compare the activity year over year over year, everyone says, well, the busiest months must be the summer months. And we know that is not true. And so you will see the amount of calls for services and the time that it takes them to process those calls increase during December. And remember, at any time, new commissioners, you may or may not know this, you can go to the police department website and you can see all of our activity in real time minus 24 hours. So you can see which officers are responding to what calls, where the calls are, what the types of calls are. You can change all the filters to look at historic information. You can do whatever you want, just like any citizen can, see the activity of the department, which is part of our quest to be very, very transparent.
Is that separate than the town hall?
So all you have to do is, it's on the town webpage, just go to the police department, and right on the front page of our police department website, you'll be able to go ahead and click and move and see everything that's going on.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Great job with the turkey
Thank you.
day, actually.
Thank you, yeah.
Give
So
love for it.
about 650, 660, something like that, turkeys this year, lots of food donations, lots of
Nice.
monetary donations. Over 1,000 people fed this year. So when they come, we the only thing we ask is their zip code and how many people they're feeding. And really how many people they're feeding is a nice stat, but it determines what size turkey they're gonna get in accordance with the Butterball calculator. So we input that, and we're able to tell people exactly what size turkey they need for heavy eaters and if they want leftovers or not. But a great time, another great partnership with Youth and Family Services. We really, really value our connection with them. And I think all the commissioners saw my Thanksgiving message to the department. For the new commissioners, every holiday, I send a message out to our personnel, and as of the last couple of years, I've always shared that with the police commissioner. So you can.
Okay, so let's move on to item 10, discussion and possible action concerning a new responsibilities of commissioners bylaw. This was advanced at the October meeting. So I invite a motion to adopt that amended bylaw.
So moved.
Now give that one to Joe. Give that to Joe.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
No.
Mr. Chairman, can I just say one quick thing? This is the end of 2 years
Yes.
worth of rewriting bylaws. And I'd like to say from the operation 2 things. Number one, I think over the course of those 2 years, we learned that when we work together in a collaborative setting, we accomplish great things in quicker fashion. When we choose to argue and posture and seek legal advice upon legal advice, nothing gets done. This bylaw here that I support completely from the operational standpoint, and I hope that the commissioners vote unanimously to adopt it, is an example of tremendous collaboration. And so I want to thank all the commissioners present and those not present who worked very, very hard to make this the final bylaw rewrite as successful as it presents tonight.
Thank you for that.
Did we get a second?
Yes.
Yes. Any discussion among the commissioners? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I have something I want to just say, that I agree that there was total collaboration on this. And I also want to thank the chief for help, because there were times where you did provide some assistance on this bylaw and gave us some direction. And I also wanted to thank Joe Maselli again, because he was instrumental in helping to move us along on many different aspects of it. This was really an awful lot of work, and it is replacing the investigations of personnel.
Yes, it's replacing the existing.
Right, which is investigation of personnel related matters on page 9
Yes.
of the current bylaw.
And so what did you vote yet?
No.
Okay, I'll let you vote, and I'll say that.
No, Jill's driving it on.
If there's no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Unanimous.
Jackie, did you want to abstain?
I did, yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure we get that.
Because I obviously, aren't gonna go out there.
So now, the job lies to me to take everything that we've done over the past year and a half, 2 years, reformulate the bylaws and get a fresh copy out to all the commissioners. And then obviously to our town clerk, the public library, the select board office, and on the website. So, give us a couple weeks to formulate that and get everything done. And, congratulations.
And, I don't know if we need an amendment to this or not, but I still am of the view that it would be helpful if these could be numbered.
Let me take a swipe at that as I, reorganize them. And then what I think I'll do is I'll distribute it to the commission first.
Yes.
Make sure everyone is happy with format, and then we'll distribute that to the other locations.
I got a question. Is it gonna be in a booklet form or is it gonna just be run off? Is it?
It's gonna be booklet, but it's only like 6 pages. Okay. Yeah, we're not talking a big. You don't need volume. Look at the tablets. 10 Commandments, 2 tablets. That's lasted for a long time.
Although these are a lot lighter than stone.
Yes.
Yes, there you go. Just a question. Gotta carry a lot of things.
Okay.
This is so exciting. We passed the bylaw. So excited. So far.
All right, next item, correspondence. I have none to report. Does any other commissioner have any? Chief, any?
Nothing other than the nice card from the right.
Comments from the public? Again, there is no live public. Anyone in the virtual audience wish to raise a hand? Larry, do we have any?
No, there are no hands raised.
Thank you. Okay, I invite a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of interviewing one or more candidates
Inviting the chief.
and inviting the chief.
Remember, I walked out last time. You wondered where I went.
We got one or more.
We have one.
Okay, I invite such a motion.
So moved.
Second? Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Let's go into executive session.
How does that?
Executive session and going to item 14 on our agenda. I invite a motion to extend an offer of employment to Officer Kevin Leach upon successfully completing the remainder of the hiring process and at a date that supports the operations of the department as determined by the chief of police.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you, and we will continue the quest to find folks to fill our vacant positions.
Next item, comments from the Chief of Police.
Sure, just a couple of quick notes. Again, I want to thank everyone for the collaboration on that bylaw. I think that's a great example of how far we've come together as a group. So thank you very much for that. I sent a communication out to the commission informing you of the labor board decision that resulted after the vote that was started by our union, a petition by our union to decertify their current union and certify the new union. The vote was 14 in favor, 14-0 to affiliate with IBPO. I have set up a meeting to meet with their union leadership. I think next week is when we're going to be sitting down. So I really look forward to working obviously with our local board, our president, vice president, secretary and treasurer, along with the new IBPO national and regional representatives. So I hope that this commission has an opportunity to meet with them at some point in the near future. And I look forward to a positive and collaborative relationship with that union. Finally, my last comment has to do with the study. The Board of Finance has taken that expenditure request up. They're going to wait a 2-week period. So I think probably next week when they vote or the following week. There's a lot of interesting questions that came up when it was discussed. And it was questions about the scope of the study, right? So one of the members of the Board of Finance said, hey, are we finally going to get a determination if 25 is enough? We're gonna answer that question. And are we gonna do this? And are we gonna do that? And so the only thing that I think that this commission should think about is pausing to work with everyone in government, perhaps the community, to find out what their questions are, and then determine if you want that included in the scope of this study or not. I think that it would be horrible if we spent close to $100,000 of taxpayer money and the questions of our elected officials and our community are not answered in the product that we get back. And so I relate this to going to a pizza restaurant. No one goes to a pizza restaurant and says, hey, can I have a pizza? And then whatever comes, you're happy with. People ask for specific things when they order a pizza. And so if we are going to do a $100,000 study funded by taxpayer dollars, I think that we should ask exactly what we're looking to get in return. And I think the only way we can do that is by asking the questions of our stakeholders. What do you want to know? At the end of the day, it is this commission who decides what that scope will be. But without that information from members of the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen, you yourselves, 7 of you sitting around this table, if I just said right now, write down what you want to know as a result of this study, and I collected it, I bet you there's 5, 6, or maybe even 7 different things. Let's make sure that those questions are answered in the scope if we decide to move forward. That's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Any commissioners?
I have something to share. Our neighborhood got burglarized and I had called the police department. The officer came out and he was very nice and very thorough. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. It was a kind of upsetting moment to drive in and you see your car vandalized, and he handled it well. So
Thank you. It's very unsettling. Right?
yeah,
It's
it was
just,
very unsettling.
Any other comments?
I want to congratulate you and the department for achieving tier 2 status.
Thank you.
Way ahead.
Way ahead. Yes, thank you.
And it just makes me feel good that we're on the right track.
Thank you.
I just want to say, I worked the bowls, the food drive for the Lions Club, and Officer Lawrence was there part of my time there. And it was amazing the number of people that walked up to him and thanked him. There was a young gentleman with Down syndrome. He was incredible the way he interacted with him. There was a woman who thanked him because he'd shown up at a medical at her house, and she said, I know it was you, but I couldn't say anything then, you know, it was a medical call. And the whole time he was there and he was interacting with the people, he was incredible because he was taking note of everything that was going on, people trying to get in the wrong door and trying to get in school. And it was really refreshing. And I was very happy that so many people did approach him.
Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out.
Very professional.
Yeah, look, I always say, and sometimes you can get wrapped up into the noise, right? I think our police department has a very good relationship with the townsfolk of Old Saybrook. I think we really do. We're part of the fabric of this town. I think that sometimes a small group of noisy folks dominates that conversation. And that's sad, right? That's wrong, but that's the way it is in society, right? We speak more about the negative than we do about the positive. So I appreciate you pointing that out. And we see that when we do things like when we're collecting turkeys or food or diapers in January, the toys that we're collecting now. Citizens would not donate to police officers that they did not like or did not trust or did not value. And every time we ask for help to help the community shows up like there's no tomorrow. And that exemplifies the positive relationship we have. So thank you for that.
I just want to thank you for doing a great job with the turkey drive, the toy drive that you do. I was so thankful you did it last year. I filled up one of those great bins myself, and it made me feel so good that you guys are doing it. Just thank you for all the hard work that you guys do.
Thank you. Sergeant Ciccone, Phil Ciccone, heads up the Give the Cops the Bird campaign for us. And Sergeant Hardy now is heading up the toy collection. He usually works with Patrolman Torje, but The baby pool is out. So she's due on the 8th. I picked the 7th, I think the 10th and the 11th. So I'm hoping I'm successful on that, but she'll be going out on maternity leave very shortly. But thank you for saying that.
Officer Chaconi was the one that came to my house.
Okay.
And he
Yeah, sorry.
actually came back.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Everything okay here?
Well, I just want to say congratulations, like Paul on tier 2.
Thank you very much. A lot of hard work, Stephanie Mardo, Andre Gosselin, Gilman's work.
Really quick, just to feed off of Renee, Officer Lawrence, I talked to him too when I was at the fence there. The situation that he was in, where he was not all by himself, but he was parked there and there was lots of people, and it's sort of like, I wish our officers could have more chance to do stuff like that. Like where you're just like in the community, basically just, hanging out, and then he just immerse himself. Does that make sense? Like I wish we had more opportunities.
Well, so there's lots of opportunities. You just don't see that.
I don't see
Right,
that.
because you're not at every event. No one can be, right? So as Commissioner Pratt told us about her unfortunate experience, you'll hear me in the budget presentation say this ad nauseum. Some people will roll their eyes, that law enforcement is very personal and private, right? And you don't understand that. You can't respect that phrase until you become a victim yourself. And so a lot of the times where we see our police officers really as knights in shining armor are when we're inside someone's home, or they're dealing with the most sensitive of cases that never, ever, ever have light shed on them because it's personal and private to someone. But I'm proud of our staff. You saw what I wrote in our my Thanksgiving message. I really do believe we have a very good thing going. But there's more of them than there are of us. And so it's incumbent on both myself and the most junior police officer that you hired tonight to the most tenured to make sure that we continue to have a good thing going. We've talked about ridding the department of, some bad eggs, some turnover that was non-regrettable turnover. And I think we've been successful in doing that. This commission has helped over the past year, helped some folks to exit that should not be in our department ranks. And I think we have a good thing going. I think the town of Saybrook should be proud of it.
I invite a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
She said it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.